Hey guys, Youshaei here, and everyone is talking about Hamilton now that the musical is on Disney+. But not enough people are talking about the untold story of how Lin-Manuel Miranda created Hamilton, because there's so many fascinating lessons that we could learn from his creative process to apply to our own lives. So let's start by rewinding back to 2009. It was then that Lin-Manuel had just read Ron Chernow's biography of Alexander Hamilton when he had the idea not to turn the book into a full-blown musical as most people think, but just to turn the book into a rap mixtape. That was it. Cool idea, but again, not a full-blown musical. And it was after that that Lin got a call. It was a phone call from the White House. President Obama had invited Lin-Manuel Miranda to perform a song from his last Broadway musical, In the Heights, at a White House event dedicated to poetry and music.
It is a great pleasure to welcome all of you to the White House for an evening of music and poetry and spoken word.
Of course, Lin-Manuel said yes, he packed his bags, and he headed to Washington, D.C. for the event. And it was there, at the night of the event, that he did one of the ballsiest things ever. Right there in front of the crowd that included the president, the first lady, stars like Spike Lee and James Earl Jones, Lin decided not to perform a song from his last musical, In the Heights, as requested. Instead, he decided to perform an entirely new song nobody had ever heard of before. It was a song called Alexander Hamilton from that new hip-hop album he was tinkering on at the time.
I'm actually working on a hip-hop album. It's a concept album about the life of someone I think embodies hip-hop, Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton. You laugh, but it's true.
Again, think about the balls that took. On one hand, you may think Lin-Manuel was out of his mind to go against a presidential request and perform a song nobody had ever heard of at the time. I mean, that's kind of like inviting the Backstreet Boys to sing I Want It That Away, but at the last moment, they're like, you know what? We've actually been tinkering on this new EDM album and we want to play a track for you from that, so enjoy. But on the other hand, this decision that Lin made was all part of a greater plan that he had in store. He saw the White House audience as a focus group, as a chance to test whether he should even continue with the Hamilton mixtape or not by giving them a taste of just one song.
Is it a good idea to test material at the White House?
It worked out okay for me. I remember thinking, well, if it doesn't work in this room, I'll just throw it out. And I'll try something else.
Lo and behold, Lin-Manuel's performance at the White House got a standing ovation. And that was a sign that Lin should continue with the Hamilton mixtape. Maybe even turn it into a live performance. And so that set off a string of other events where Lin wrote more songs and tested those in front of more crowds. In fact, Lin-Manuel decided to do a few readings for students at Vassar College. And even then, the readings, again, with no elaborate costumes or stage, drew massive crowds. It got to the point where professional actors were trying to get into those readings, like Leslie Odom Jr., who would actually go on to play the role of Aaron Burr in Hamilton. He had to get in by fighting off college students and making friends with an usher, as he tells you here.
And I sent Lin a tweet like, hey, I'd love to see, I hear you guys are doing the Act One. I'd love to see this thing. And there were no tickets. Even then, I had made friends with the ushers. And so I scored the very last folding chair. And I never in a million years thought sitting on that last row that I'd be in the show.
So let's put that all in perspective. Rather than work on his idea in secret, Lin-Manuel continued to create new material, test that material in front of crowds in public, and improve on it based on their feedback. He did that to the point where Hamilton turned from a song into a mixtape, into a musical, as Lin got more and more public validation. So is it really any surprise that Hamilton sold out for months when it debuted? Or that it smashed records for awards and money made, to the point where actually the White House invited Lin-Manuel back to perform Hamilton along with his entire cast and crew 7 years after he went rogue to perform Hamilton the song by himself.
Bring Hamilton to the White House. This is definitely the room where it happened, right here. And so we all started laughing, but Lin-Manuel was serious. And who's laughing now?
What's your name, man? Alexander Hamilton.
I mean, that's what happens when you build with people in public instead of building by yourself in private, as so many of us do. I mean, think about the last time that you had an idea that you were stoked about. What did you do? Did you put together a rough version of that idea, share it, get feedback, and improve upon it? Or do you just keep it to yourself? Try to keep polishing and ultimately launch a final product only to be surprised as to why nobody wanted it. I think that's a big myth about creativity. It's that it's this individual process that happens in some secret lab. But it's not. As Hamilton proves, creativity is a collective process that happens in the open. It's a process that you can only win by sharing early ideas so you know what to keep, what to cut, and whether to abandon your idea altogether, which is actually a good thing because it could save you a lot of time and money if you know that sooner rather than later so you can move on to testing a different idea. And you know, to make all of this a bit more personal, I can't tell you how many people ask me about a new idea or wanting to write a book one day, they say. And I always ask them the same question in response. I ask them, you want to write a book? Okay. How many articles have you written? And what's been the response to those articles? And it boggles my mind how many of those people who want to write a book haven't even written an article on Medium or WordPress where anyone can publish for free. So I asked them, how could you dive into the deep end of writing a book when you don't even know how to swim in the kiddie pool and get feedback by writing an article to see what people actually want? You know, you have people telling me they want to come up with this next big idea for a startup, to which I say, okay, but have you tested it? You know, another story of a Lin-Manuel Miranda process is what Sara Blakely did when starting Spanx. She wanted to start this slimming underwear. And she didn't do what most people do. She didn't start raising money, building storefronts. Instead, she started small. She got a pair of her old pantyhose, cut off the legs with her scissors, and boom, she had a very simple prototype to get feedback from friends or family before iterating on it and developing it more. Again, same process as Lin-Manuel Miranda. She created the simplest version, tested it with an audience, and improved upon it until she had a product called Spanx that turned her into a self-made billionaire. And if I could share one last example that blew my mind and is again so similar to what Lin-Manuel did but in a completely different field, it would be the example of Drew Houston, who started Dropbox. Because you see, he didn't build the entire file sharing software that we know today. Instead, he just made a video of what Dropbox could look like.
Okay, my name's Drew, and I'll be showing you a quick tour of Dropbox, which is a new way to store and share files online. And what we're looking at is my Dropbox folder, which looks and acts like any other folder except for two things. One, these little green icons that indicate files are up to date. And two, anything in my Dropbox is synced across all of my computers into the web.
That was it. Drew posted it one night online and 70,000 people signed up to join a waitlist, with many people offering suggestions on how he could even improve Dropbox before he had fully built it. Just think about how powerful that is. That simple video was like the song Lin-Manuel performed at the White House that night. And it was like that prototype that Sara Blakely put together for Spanx. It gave them the green light. And just to be clear, if Lin-Manuel Miranda had got booed that night, if Drew's Dropbox video didn't generate any signups, or if Sara's Spanx prototypes didn't get a good response, you know, that would have also been a valuable outcome. Probably not desired, but still valuable, because it would have saved them a ton of time and work. Because to draw another metaphor, if people are not jazzed about the appetizer version of what you're cooking up, then they're probably not going to give a damn about the entree. And as Lin-Manuel Miranda proves with Hamilton, it's best to start small to go big. It's best to test before you invest more of your time. Take the smallest and simplest version of what you're trying to build, which a lot of startup folks call the minimal viable product or the MVP, and see if that resonates before going further. Which, by the way, following this whole process that Lin-Manuel set out isn't just good for creativity, it's actually good for marketing as well. Because as was the case with Hamilton, you'll end up building anticipation and growing your waiting list as you publicly go through the creative process of building, creating, or writing, or whatever it may be that you're working on. So, you know, as you watch Hamilton on Disney Plus and celebrate all the great innovation on screen, don't forget about how innovation really happens off screen when you're dreaming up your next big idea. Because otherwise, you may just be throwing away your shot. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel here by clicking that button and ringing the bell for notifications, because you won't want to miss next week's episode. If you haven't done so already, maybe check out this video that I picked out just for you with a little help from YouTube, because I think you'll like all the videos I have on this channel that are about marketing and creativity. I'll see you guys next week.